Kwame had been fishing the Oya River for 40 years. Every mood the water carried depending on the season, the lazy brown slowness of dry season, the fierce dark rushing of the rains, the particular silver stillness of early morning when the river held its breath and the fish came close to the surface like they were listening for something. He knew this river the way he knew his own hands, which was exactly why he knew, on this particular evening, that something was deeply, fundamentally, bone-shakingly wrong. It had started with the fish, or rather, the complete and total absence of them. Kwame had dropped his net 3 times in the best spot on the entire river, the wide, slow curve just past the twin fig trees where the current pooled and the water ran deep and cool, where fish gathered in such numbers that his father 3 times, nothing.
Not even the small ones. Not even the river crabs.
That were usually so plentiful you could scoop them with your bare hands. Nothing moved beneath the surface. "Uncle," said his nephew Fifi from the back of the canoe. 19 years old, on his first proper night fishing trip. "Maybe we should go back. We go back when we have fish."
"We have no fish. Then we are not going back."
Fifi looked at the dark water around them and said nothing further, which showed more wisdom than most 19-year-olds possessed.
Kwame reached for his paddle. That was when the river began to glow. It started small, a faint blue-green shimmer somewhere deep below the surface, the way moonlight sometimes plays tricks at the bottom of clear water.
Kwame saw it from the corner of his eye and turned, thinking it was a reflection from the clouds.
There were no clouds in
The
there.
glow pulsed, once, twice, growing brighter with each pulse.
Spreading outward through the dark water like ink dropped in reverse. Not spreading darkness, but spreading light, cold and electric and completely unlike anything fire or moon or star had ever produced on this river.
Uncle, I see it.
What is it? I don't know.
This was the most frightening thing I have seen in 40 years on this river.
Fifi gripped both sides of the canoe and considered, seriously, whether the water was shallow enough to walk back to shore. It was not. The glow intensified, directly beside the canoe now, just beneath the surface, a shifting, breathing luminescence that lit the underside of the water like a second sky. Kwame could see shapes in it, the outlines of the river bottom, rocks and roots and ancient sunken logs, things the river had kept hidden for decades suddenly revealed in cold blue light. Then the surface broke.
It came up slowly, deliberately, with the unhurried confidence of something that had existed long before the concept of hurry was invented. First the shell, enormous.
Easily the length of the canoe, its surface covered in geometric patterns that pulsed with their own inner light, blue, green, and gold, and a color that had no name in any language Kwame spoke.
The patterns shifted and moved like living things, like the markings were breathing. Then the head, ancient beyond description, like lanterns that had never once been extinguished. Not the eyes of an animal, the eyes of something that thought, that considered, that had been in this river since before there was a name for the river.
And would be here long after the name was forgotten. The turtle, because it was unmistakably a turtle, despite being the Simpunda.
It came up slowly, deliberately, with the unhurried confidence of something that had existed long before the concept of hurry was invented. First the shell,
And looked directly at Kwame. Water cascaded off its shell in luminous streams. The entire river around the canoe was lit now, a circle of cold fire on dark water, and in the middle of it sat 2 fishermen in a wooden canoe.
Uncle,
quiet.
but Fifi, quiet.
The boy went quiet.
Kwame had heard the stories, of course. Every child who grew up near the Oya had them first. About Nyankopon Tano,
The great river guardian, ancient as the water itself. Not a spirit exactly, not a guides out exactly, some keeper.
in the way you become aware of things in extraordinary moments, of every sensation simultaneously, the wood of the paddle handle in his palm, the slight rocking of the canoe, the smell of the river at night, Fifi's terrified breathing behind him, the heat of the day still releasing from his own skin into the cooling air. And then, he couldn't explain it afterward, not in words that satisfied anyone. He became aware of something else.
Not a voice.
Boy sabnoga the run fue the night before. The river is sick. 3 words.
Simple and devastating.
Kwame looked at the turtle. The turtle looked at Kwame. The river is sick. Something is coming from upstream, something man-made, something poisonous, something that had already driven every living thing downstream in silent animal panic, which explained, with sudden horrible clarity, why had his nets come up empty 3 times in the best fishing spot on the river.
The fish hadn't disappeared, they had fled. What do we do?
Then, slowly, it turned its luminous head upstream, toward wherever the river came from before it reached this stretch of water that Kwame had fished for 4 decades. Then back to Kwame, then upstream again.
You want us to go upstream?
The turtle blinked, once, slowly.
Are you having a conversation with a magic turtle?
Yes. Okay. That's okay. We're going upstream. Now, in the dark, toward whatever scared all the fish?
Yes.
Uncle, I want you to know that I came on this trip expecting to catch fish and maybe hear some stories.
I did not agree to follow a glowing supernatural turtle upstream in the dark to find river poison.
Yes, uncle?
Paddle.
Yes, uncle.
The great turtle moved ahead of them, unhurried, luminous, lighting the river like a living torch as their small canoe followed its glow into the darkness upstream. The jungle closed in on both sides. The jungle was dense and breathing and alive, and the river narrowed, and the current strengthened, and somewhere in the distance Kwame could already detect it. Faint, but unmistakable. An acrid chemical wrongness beneath the smell of water and night and green growing things.
He paddled.
Behind him, Fifi had stopped complaining and was paddling with real effort.
Uncle,
What? When we get back, if we get back,
nobody is going to believe us.
Kwame looked at the ancient luminous creature guiding them through the dark water and thought about his grandmother, who had told him the stories, and his father, who had called them legend.
And the 40 years he himself had spent on this river
Thinking he knew everything about it.
No, they won't.
So why are we doing it? Kwame was quiet for a moment.
Listening to the paddle cutting water, the jungle humming on both sides, the distant chemical wrongness growing slowly stronger.
because the river asked us to.
Fifi thought about this. Then he paddled harder. Ahead of them, the great turtle's shell pulsed, once, twice.